Welcome back, everyone. I can't believe we're already on part 5. So, like I mentioned in the last episode, I have gotten all the voices done, and now we're able to actually finish this animation. I've been sitting on this project for about 2 years now, but all I was missing was a female voice actor, or actress, and I finally got one. And she did an amazing job with these lines, and I'm still have so much work ahead of me, but it's getting there. Slowly but surely, it's getting there. Today, we're working on scene 4. This is our first introduction to Jamie. Because Mac is trying to overcome his fear of girls, Sam has enlisted the help of Jamie. Jamie is his friend from, as far as we know, from high school. He met her in high school, and they've been really good friends ever since. And Sam, the way his friends work, or the way that Sam works, is that he and Mac are really tight. And he's best friends with Mac. He hangs out with him almost all the time. But he also has this separate group of friends that he hasn't really introduced Mac to. Now granted, this is only Mac's sophomore year of high school. And so he's known Sam for quite a while, but Mac has kind of kept close with his friend group, only hanging out with Sam. Sam has gone off and met new friends, and now he's trying to bring those friends together with Mac so that they can all have a good time together. And that's sort of what's going to happen over the next couple episodes of Miserable Mac, assuming everything goes according to plan. We're going to be introducing new characters and bringing them all together into a group. So right here, I'm animating Jamie, and this scene ended up being a lot more involved than I had originally intended it to be. One of the things that I was doing, all she's doing is saying, "Hey Sam, oh, this must be Mac. It's a pleasure to meet you." That was the line. And it just ended up being way more animating than I intended it. I was just roughing it out, and it suddenly became this really, really complex scene. Complex for what the characters are doing, just introducing each other and saying hi. She's moving all over the place, and I think that's actually a good representation of what her character is, and I think it's probably how I'm going to end up animating her from now on, is she's going to have a lot of more complex animation. This is a huge contrast to scene 6, where Sam and Mac were basically stationary with a little bit of head movement, a little bit of hand movements, but they were just saying their lines and not really moving about. Jamie is the exact opposite. She's spunky, she's full of energy, she's bubbly, she's moving all around. And because of this, her scenes are going to take a lot longer to do. One of the things that you'll see I'm using is there's a line down the middle of her body in a couple of these frames, and I'm sure I'm going to use the term incorrectly, but these are what we'd call a line of motion. I'll put a great example of it up on the screen that I used sort of as a reference to kind of remember how animation should look. It's an exaggeration of movement. And a line of motion will sort of give an indication of where the character is, and it should never be a jagged line. It's always supposed to be a smooth line. And that's what we're doing right here. So she's waving her arm up in the air, saying, "Hey, Sam," and then she's gonna lean forward and say, "Oh, this must be Mac." And then she'll come back close to her initial pose and bring her hand out and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you," like she's offering to shake his hand. And this is kind of what I'm going to be doing with her for the rest of the series, is just this complex animation. And I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work. But I've already seen how this scene ends up looking, and it looks really good. And I'm really excited that it turned out this well. And it makes me hopeful that I'll be able to keep doing animations like this in the future. So now, what I'm deciding here is, after I finish doing all this, I'll start working on the head. And the head animation, this is something that I picked up like as I was working on this project on Miserable Mac episode 2, deciding to animate the heads separately. having their own symbol, not really changing, or changing within the symbol if necessary, but not doing it all in the same place. This is what right here I'm drawing her, and she actually has a really complex head. This is something that I wasn't intending to do. Again, like, all this stuff was not as complicated as I had originally planned, or the opposite of what that was. And so I have the hair, the face. I'll be drawing the eyes on separate layers. Of course, the mouth will be on a separate layer, and then we'll have the hair. Her ponytail will actually be completely separate. I haven't even animated that yet. It'll be behind the body, and it'll be animated separately from the head, just because that's going to be really complicated to animate, and it would just be completely impossible to do inside the same movie clip as the head. So right there, I was just trying to figure out how I wanted to make this look, because the head didn't look quite right. You can kind of see, like, it almost looks like the hair is taking out a chunk of her face. And I was going to do something about it, but I think I ended up deciding, you know what, it's going to be fine. And I've looked at it as it's come together more and more, and I'd agree that I would agree with my statement in saying that, yeah, it ended up looking good, and I'm not worried about it. If I need to go back and change anything, it'll be a quick, easy fix because of the way I set up the layers, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm putting in the eyes right now, and her eyes will be moving because of the way she's looking, but I'm not animating them right now. I'm just going to put them there, and then once I have the body fully animated, I'll be able to go back and say, okay, at this point in the timeline, things need to be moved into this position. And we're back to lip syncing. Man, I honestly feel like there's too much of this going on right now, but we're just at that stage in the project where a lot of what I'm doing is lip syncing. I promise, though, that the next video you'll see will have a lot less of it, which is going to be awesome. I'll end up doing a little bit of what we're looking at right now off screen, but what you're seeing right now is doing her lines. And one of the things that I was kind of like considering while I was animating this was, do I add lips to this character? Because I have drawn her before with lips and they look really good, but figuring out how to lip sync with feminine lips is something that I haven't quite figured out yet. So for the purpose of, for this particular scene, I might in the future add lips. We'll see how it goes. I decided against adding it. Maybe for close-up shots we'll do it. We'll just have to see. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was my upload schedule. As of right now, I don't really have one. I've just been kind of uploading videos as I've been completing them. But I'm figuring that maybe I should kind of figure out a way to space out the episodes so that I can get a little bit ahead, so I'm not always worrying, am I going to be able to finish the next episode in time, or any of those things. So what I'm thinking I'm doing is 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometime in the morning. That seems like a very reasonable schedule. I might move it up to 4 days a week. We'll kind of have to see how it goes, but for right now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is what we're looking at. And we're just finishing up this lip syncing right here, or working our way through it. Also, I wanted to thank, I got my first subscriber today, or last night, I believe, and super, super, super happy about that. I won't lie, it was a friend of mine, but I just want to thank them very much for doing that for me. It's only one, but, you know, who knows, that might grow into a larger number at some point, and that would be pretty cool. But just a shout out to them. It was very awesome that they did that for me. So, we're wrapping up pretty quick here, and if I stick to the schedule that I laid out, expect the next video to be uploaded Friday morning. I'll mention it again at the end slate, but if you do watch the video, I'd really appreciate if you leave your feedback in the comments below. Right now, I'm going in blind, and I would love to hear what people think, what I could do to improve, maybe some things that you want to see. I've been sort of thinking about doing tutorials at some point, especially working with Flash. This is a program that I'm fairly well versed in. I may not be the best animator, but I do know some things about how to animate and how to use Flash that I would love to share if people were interested. Right now, we don't have many people, but if you do watch the video, please comment. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a little thumbs up. And if you have questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below so that I know and so that I can keep providing you with something to watch. To check out the rest of this series, click on the TV. And if you want to see the first episode of Miserable Mac, click on the computer. For more of my other work, take a look at my YouTube page and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again for watching.